Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM Cast. That intro gets me going every Wednesday night because it lets me know that it is one thing. That's the Thunder Series here on FGM Cast. And we are at Talladega. It's a high-speed, high-adrenaline racetrack. I've just been watching some of the practice or warm-up here. And it has been pretty clean, consistent, but then followed by a whole heap of carnage. And I'm joined this evening, as usual, by my partner in crime, Carl Withy. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Stuart. Good evening, everybody. Yes, we are here at Lincoln, Alabama, for Talladega, of course. The fantastic, famous track, made famous, of course, by a very, very fun movie.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing.
Of course, I had it up, but I forgot the name.
Talladega Nights.
No, the Legend of...
sorry. Oh my gosh.
The Legend of Talladega, that's it.
What?
There we go. My brain just completely switched off there for a second as I had it in my head and my memory, and I just completely forgot that. Because Talladega Nights is too easy to mention. But yes, Talladega, fantastic place, of course, Talladega Nights. Brilliant track, super speedway, of course, so expect the big one.
Yeah, Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, of course, what I was referring to there. Help me, Tom Cruise! Running around on the track thinking he's on fire when he's not. What a great movie. What a great, funny man is Will Ferrell. But there'll be no funny men here tonight if they're causing that type of activity. And I tell you what, it's practice, and there is a very unfamiliar name at the top of the standings, Carl.
Well, this is the thing about Talladega, is it's all about the draft. Matty Hunter has got a fantastic pack at the moment and got himself right up to the top. Of course, series admin Matty Hunter up there, sitting at the top of the board. Almost broke into the 49s. So a 50 flat for Matty Hunter there. Just 6 millionths off the time there. So very close to breaking into the 49s. Just Josh Micklemore behind him. Watch out for the Sim Boys tonight. We know they're quick on the ovals. Avid Super Speedway, sorry. They've had good records. They could be a team that get it together. We've got a few new faces out there as well. I noticed Justin Cotarelli is out there in the Flying Whale racing team, and absolutely awesome livery on that car. Just one that I noticed. Thomas Martin is back with us as well. First season in ANZCAR, of course, he won at Daytona, so he's got some pedigree on the Super Speedway already. Can he repeat his Super Speedway luck, or will the Talladega curse bite him tonight?
Yeah, interesting. And of course, the Dark Sim Racing boys are back. There's already plenty of support in the chat for them tonight, so don't worry, Alex will get across and have a look at Luke as he fares his way through this evening. It's a crowded room tonight. We've got 38 in the server, which is great to see. Jacob Burke as well. Yeah, as I look back through, Daniel Beckinsale as well. So there's a few who we haven't seen for a little while, which is great to see on our Wednesday night series. We've got a couple of guests lined up as well. If there are cautions, I say if, not in inverted commas, because it would be amazing if we didn't have a caution here at the high-speed track. That is Talladega, but you just never know your luck. So welcome to everyone in the stream. It's great to have you on board as we are about to get into qualifying. If it is the first time that you joined us tonight, it is a 2-lap shootout, and there will be no draft benefit for Matty Hunter in this one. He's going to have to get it done on his pat, but we'll see how we get on with tonight. We might jump on board if we can, if they get out early enough, with one of our newcomers and have a look at how they get on. Maybe Luke Georgeton will be the one we jump on board with. Have a look at how they get on in qualifying, coming up shortly. But quickly, Carl, I'm only giving you 20 seconds after all of that for a quick rundown of maybe the top 5 or 10 in the championship.
So yeah, Matty Raymond still leads the championship. Too many Maddys in there at the moment. He is on 200 points. Second place is Hamish Gallagher, 9 points down. 10 points down is Josh Micklemore in third. Then we have Brenton West in fourth, 19 points off the lead. Fifth is Edward Foster, 27 down. Sixth place is JCW, Josh Carroll Walden, 41 points off the lead, 42 points down. And seventh is Norman Clark, 44 off the lead. And eighth is Gary Wellman and Stevie Williams. Dave Douglas is in joint 10th with Matt Hunter. Both of those guys are 51 points off the lead. So it's pretty close up there. There's a bit of a gap between P6 to P5, but it is very close still throughout the championship. So we are about to get underway for qualifying tonight.
It's going to be a big qualifying session. Don't worry, Timmy, we've got you there, mate. We'll have a look at Wilco as well. But it is going to be Luke Georgian who we're going to jump on board with in the Chevrolet once he is out on track, which should be any tick of the show. Just waiting there for it to tick over. Should be out on track right now.
Where you gone?
We got the camera bug early tonight.
We have. I don't have Luke out on track at the moment myself, so he is not currently out there. So he might be waiting for the qualifying cloud to come over. He might be looking to run a little bit later on. Well,
then it's Justin Cottrell, another new runner. We're going to have a look at Justin and how he gets on instead. Of course, he's on his first flying lap already. It'll take him that lap to get the beast wound up, and we'll jump on board with him for his second flying lap, which should be the faster of the two.
Yeah, that's it. So it gives us a little bit of time to talk us around this big old track of Talladega, of course. Asphalt course, 2.6 miles long. That's 4.2 kilometers long, I think, off the top of my head. But I think I've got it up in front of me, haven't I? Yeah, 4.28 kilometers long. Technically 4 turns, but there is that tri-oval section across the middle. They don't count that as a turn in NASCAR. Big long straights, of course, where you can run 3-4 wide if you choose to do something a bit crazy. But expect to see them running 2 wide in succession, so line by line. Of course, the draft is key here. Get to the end of the race and get to a nice stage for fuel saving. So getting onto the qualifying lap here, off the corner, getting up to 290 kilometers per hour. You'll be just shy of that as you get to the end of the tri-oval section here. Into the first corner, it's pretty much flat all the way. There's no signs of lifting at this place. You lose a little bit of speed as you go through the corners just because of friction and physics. Those things happen to us all. Dropping down to around about 280 kilometers per hour, 283 in the corners. Depends which line you take. You can take a slightly higher line if you choose to, or keep on the low line. Some drivers prefer to keep in the middle. Generally, for a qualifying lap, you're going to want to try and go for that low line, but not scrub off the speed, because it's all about keeping the pace up. So keeps to that slightly lower line, because that's the shortest way around the track here. Of course, you want to make the track as short as possible, and the low line is that short part of the track. Gets out of the corner nice there, keeping the speed up. We'll probably chop down a little bit across the tri-oval section. Of course, the start-finish line is right at the back of this section, so you see just dipping below the yellow line there. Now, of course, you can do that in qualifying, but if you dip yourself below the yellow line in the race, you will get a penalty. So no passing under the yellow line. So Cottrell just gets across the line and jumps himself up into 12th position. Norman Clark up in first, just pipped by Scotty Griffiths. So positions are changing constantly. Thomas Martin just getting up into P3, Christopher Finley in 4th, and Jaden Russell currently sitting in 5th.
Scotty Griffiths, a great run from him, up into P1 provisionally at the moment by 4/100ths. This might be a race where people decide not to quali as well. I think it's going to be, particularly if you're not used to the car in the pack, it's going to be difficult. There'll be a lot of moving around. I was on board with, it was our man in the practice session. I was just trying to have a look, actually. It was Mirko, in fact, I was on board with. Mirko was just moving around a lot, just with the draft and the lack of downforce on the car while he was caught in amongst another group of drivers and ended up losing the car. And that's going to be a big thing tonight if you're not used to it. The drivers will struggle with that.
It really is. It's a tricky thing to get right. Of course, we had the first race back at Daytona at the start of the year in the Xfinity for this season, and these cars, because they don't have as much downforce, they do get very wobbly, especially if you're running 2-3 wide. When you're running 2 wide constantly as well throughout the race, if you're running a 30-odd lap stint of green flag racing side by side with each other, especially up inside the top 10, it is so tiring. It just absolutely knackers you, and you've got to put so much concentration in there to get it right. It is very hard. One of the big things as well is changing steering ratios as well. Generally, you want to make it a wider steering ratio so it's not quite as tight, so you've got a little bit more give on there, and that's something you've got to do before you start a race like this. You want to open up the steering a little bit just to make it a little bit easier on yourselves.
There you go. So we're going to bring the grid up here and have a look at it. Of course, we are in the 6th round of Season 2 of the ANZCAR Thunder Series on FGM eCars. Scotty Griffiths with his first pole position, so he's taken out the cap here with Norm Clark next to him. That's a great result for Norman Clark. He'll be absolutely wrapped with getting up on the front row of the grid for Natari Autosport there. Then Thomas Martin, Christopher Finlay off row 2 with Jaden Russell and Mickey Skurlock off row 3. Andrew Dyson, Damon Stockton off 4 with Josh Micklemore and Lachlan Capel running again tonight off row 5. Look out for that youngster. Edward Foster and Luke Georgeson off row 6. And as we flick over the page, when it gets there we go. Daniel Beckinsale, Hamish Gallagher off 7, Brenton West and Justin Cottrell off 8. Then we've got Troy Davison, Lachlan Urquhart off 9, with Gary Wellman and JCW rounding out our top 10 rows. Kate Donnelly, Stephen Williams off 11, with Danny G and Tim Weston off 12. Followed up by Ben Vickers and Mirko Dortnack off 13, Mick Taylor, Mitchell West off 14. Then it's Nathan Rollock, Noddy Tompkins off 15 with Aaron Dillon, Peter Wilkinson off 16, Tristan Koch, Jamie Nankervis off 17 with Dave Douglas, Matty Raymond, Mr. Sheen even off 18, and then Matt Hunter and Jacob Burke. Rounding out the 38 drivers for tonight. What a cracking turnout, and no surprise at all given the track that we are at.
Yeah, really good result, and really nice to see Scotty Griffiths up there for Synergy. We've seen his teammates come in with some absolute wrecking balls and get some good results, and Scotty's been sitting there and thereabouts, just sort of mid-pack generally, but this is the first time we've seen him right up the front for pole position, so he's going to be very happy with that one. Really nice job from him. Good job from Norman Clark, as you said, up there, starting on the front of the pack, and that's generally a good place to start. Looks like Dyson's got an issue. Dyso
there we go, just gets it underway.
Yeah, Dyso just had an issue just trying to get away there. So Dyson having some technical issues there. So a slight technical issue there with a mechanical issue there for Dyso. So they've managed to get underway. So a couple of people just getting a few taps as well. I think Ben Vickers might have just got a bit of a tap.
That's Dave Douglas.
Dave Douglas as well, yeah. So a few drivers getting a little bit of contact in the pack there. So I think Danny G might have also been caught up in a little bit of that, just because they were expecting to go and then all of a sudden everything goes stoppity-stop and you get caught out by it. But that's one of the things on a start like that, you have to really keep aware and really be careful. So, yeah, something I heard over the radio that was a technical issue for Dyso there, so something has definitely gone wrong somewhere along the line, and he couldn't call across the radio, so hopefully it's fixed up and it's not going to cause any more problems for the night. Sorry, excuse me.
We've got one thing that is for sure tonight, and that is that you will not want to get any damage that will impact on your ability to run out the front of any pack. So.
Yeah, look, damage is one of the things that you do not want. You do not want any aero damage on these cars, because it's just going to really kill your top end. You can slide in behind somebody and still use the draft, of course, to make advantage of it. So that's quite useful. But if you get caught out on your own, that's it. It is night over often. Pace car is coming in, so Scotty Griffiths is going to lead us away for the first time in the JK Signs number 5 car for Synergy Racing Team. Away he goes, and it's a long way to the start-finish line, as I said, so we've just got to get to there. The green flag will drop shortly for the Talladega round of the Wednesday Night Thunder Series here on FGM eCast.
And there's an unusual front row for us. Scott Griffiths, Norman Clark are going to get away here. We've got quite a wide start. Good start from everyone. You can see there, just nice and neat as we need to be here as they build up the speed and get this one underway. Scotty Griffiths low line, Norm Clark on the high line for those of you unfamiliar with those two vehicles. Then it's Thomas Martin as well up the front.
Luke Georgeson around. We've got an incident. Luke Georgeson getting caught up with big accident. We have got the big one already. That did not take long.
Daniel Beckinsale, I think, was maybe involved in that one.
Yeah, I think possibly Daniel Beckinsale just behind him. So Georgeson just did not see Beckinsale on the inside. He's just gone down a little bit too soon. I'd say that he's been told it's all clear by his spotter, and then all of a sudden he's gone down, turned down on the 919 of Daniel Beckinsale. Beckinsale's luckily, well, he almost got away with it, but then got hit again, and then a big accident, a huge accident from the back. Lots of cars caught up in that. A couple of the SRM cars really badly damaged. Nathan Rollock, Matty Ray miraculously getting through unscathed, but Noddy Tompkins, Mick Taylor, all getting caught up in that as well, I believe.
As I think we'll go back and have another quick look at this one. I'm gonna have a quick look at this from onboard Peter Wilkinson's 268 entry. I think he might have got lucky here. Might have got real lucky. He sort of had a buffer in front of him. He had nowhere to go.
No, he sort of...
He got a little tap there, but he's managed to get away with that completely.
Yeah, he's got some damage on the front of that one. You can just see there's a bit of damage on the front of the Locked On iRacing entry there. The Brewster Coffee sponsorship logo just a little bit scrunched up. That's going to hurt the aero a little bit, but that's not night over for Wilco, so that will be buffed out a little bit. He'll probably come into pit lane and might try and get a couple of quick repairs on that, or stick it out there, because once you get in the draft, you should be absolutely fine.
Just brought him up into the booth, Wilco. Welcome, mate. That would have been a pucker moment.
It definitely was, mate. I had
absolutely everything locked on, I think you were about to say.
Yeah, definitely did, mate. Sorry, I'm trying to work out how to pit in this thing. How do you do that again, Carl?
Oh, you generally go down pit lane.
I had everything on. I couldn't pull her up. I just kept on watching that Made in Auckland sign get closer and closer until I hit it. So, unfortunately, front end's probably got a little bit of damage, which isn't good.
Yeah. So, just jump in pit lane. If it's saying it's closed, you just have to start at the back of the line. That's all. If you get repairs done, there. Just getting in there now, and just gotta squeeze your way in now. Just gotta Austin Powers it. That's it.
That's it, mate. Long way to go. I've got 5 seconds of optional, so she should be right.
That's good, because just looking at the front end, just a little bit of damage to the aero, mainly. No major damage from that one, it looked like. So you managed to get the old anchors out in time for that, hopefully. Obviously, starting at the back here at Talladega, it can be a little bit tricky, because when the big one happens, especially on the first lap like that, you don't really have anywhere to go.
No, exactly right. I thought I was safe. I thought all the damage was down low, but unfortunately Luke, just came up a little bit. Apparently got the all clear from his spotter, and just came up but wasn't all clear. So just made things a little bit worse. But that's okay. It all happens. It's long race to go. This is all about speed now, and not crashing anymore.
That's it. Well, we'd assumed that that was the case. So we'll just give us a quick rundown of what's going on in the world of Locked On, please.
Look, we had a pretty good interview with young Madison Down yesterday, dropped the podcast today, and he won the Bathurst 1000 on the weekend, so beat, Shane Van Gisbergen home for first, and back-to-back win, so we had him on. We had another couple of people on to have a bit of chat about the Bathurst 1000, but we're trying to get a second car in ANZCAR at the moment. We've got Tim Corn hopefully coming on, and we're just trying to work out what the future holds for us at the moment. We've got a lot more ideas for the podcast. We've got a lot more ideas for maybe some leagues or some things like that going. So we just cruising along, enjoying it. We're apparently big in Turkey as well, so I assume that's Carl who's getting us up in the charts in Turkey.
Absolutely.
So thanks for that, mate.
No, very good. If you're interested, Locked On lads, just about everything to do with iRacing, car racing, but gaming in general, and a good general community as well, so jump onto their Discord. Wilco, thanks for your time, mate. We'll drop you back where you were, let you get ready for this one to get back underway.
Excellent. Thank you, legends.
So there you go, Locked On lads. They do have a Discord, they've got a Facebook page, but jump on the podcast, probably the biggest way to give them some support. A really, really good place to hear about grassroots iRacing and the drivers and what have you that are involved in it. And encouraging Carl to hear they're trying to get a second car up into this series as well.
Yeah, it's good news to hear. Obviously, good to see more drivers in there as well. And look, it's a good place as well if you need to catch up on the weekly goings on, especially of a few of the different series, they have a rundown of all the different stuff going on, so it's a really good place to get news and results and things like that. Locked On iRacing on Locked On Lads, and yeah, as you say, really good community as well. They've got a really good Discord community and lots of fun gaming. But we are doubling up here. Pace car lights have gone out. We will be going back to green flag racing here at Talladega. Few cars already got some damage. But that is the nature of Talladega, of course. It is a place where you will get lucky, or you will have the curse strike you and things will go wrong very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at the grid there forming up. Looking very, very sharp. I don't think we've lost anyone. Oh, in fact, Mick Taylor, the only one we've lost off the lead lap. We've got 3 cars in pit lane getting repairs. Daniel Beckinsale, Tim Weston and Aaron Dillon, one would suggest they are all out of this race. But Mick Taylor is 1 lap down. He will most likely get that lap down, you would think, given the state of play here at Talladega. So we'll wait and see on that one. But still not too much change at the front. Tom Martin up on the high line now. He's up 1 spot on Norm Clark, who dropped. He's now behind Scotty Griffiths. So Jaden Russell, Christopher Finlay swapping positions as well. Other than that, pretty much status quo. Biggest move of the night, Mitchell West up 10 positions. Matty Ray, Matty Hunter up 12 each. So a little way back down the field. So they benefited from that incident. So let's see how this one plays out. The pace car pulls down into the low line. Get ready to duck off into the pits. And it will be Carl Whiffy taking you away after our first caution here on FGME Cars ANZCAR Thunder Series. Let's get this one back underway.
So got Thomas Martin on the outside. As we said, watch out for Thomas Martin. He's already got a win on a super speedway this season in the Xfinity cars. Will he be able to get the double done? He's going to try his best. Scotty Griffiths is going to try and get away as the green flag will be dropping very shortly here for Talladega. We've got 64 laps remaining and it is green. Away we go. Griffiths gets a good start on that low line. Breaks a little bit of a gap from Norman Clark. Just got to be a bit careful doing that because you'll find some people trying to drop it in there. Jaden Russell already trying to get up there with his teammate. You can see the Synergy Racing team have got some cars up there trying to work it up there so they can actually get in a line. Obviously, if you can get your teammates next to you, it makes life a lot easier. Much cleaner start through the first corner this time round. Cars trying to get on that low line already. It looks like people want to be running the low line rather than the high line. It is quite warm out there. Track temperature of 34 degrees, so you do have to watch out a little bit of that right side, getting a little bit hot, and it can do that on the high side occasionally. So you might see some drivers wanting to run that low line more than the high line tonight. But it does look like that low line does have a little bit more speed. See that from Norman Clark. Scott Griffiths getting a good restart there, still leading the race. High line is starting to work its way up a little bit now. Mickey Skurlock just jumping in behind Jaden Russell, seeing what he can do about this one. But there are cars moving all around at the back, just trying to work out which line to go for. And people are trying to decide who they want to follow tonight, and that is the big one. Is you just need to work out who you want to follow tonight, who you want to get close to, and who you want to work with.
So is it a situation here, Carl, of wanting to lead or wanting to follow?
Follow. Very much wanting to follow. I mean, racing drivers always want to lead, but if this goes green for a long period, you want to be behind somebody because you're going to save fuel. They don't have enough fuel to get to the end, unless we get a lot of cautions, and I mean a lot of cautions. So in that circumstance, you're going to want to be about 2 or 3 cars behind so you can save as much fuel as possible. When you're sitting a few cars behind, it means you're not sitting on full throttle. Somebody like Scotty Griffiths right now will have his foot right to the floor. He will be sitting on full throttle, where somebody like Christopher Finlay sat back behind Norman Clark and Scotty Griffiths will be sitting on about 3/4 throttle. So he'll be able to save a little bit of fuel there. And the only thing you got to worry about sitting behind another car is just the engine temperature. We have got cars going a bit free wide, a little bit further back, as we see a few drivers trying to work their way through the field. Lachlan Capel with Justin Cortelli and Brenton West as well. So there are a few cars trying their best to work their way up there. Jamie Naknaveris just having a bit of a moment, manages to save it though. In that very pretty liveried car, reminds me of the old JCW livery, the Monster Energy butterfly livery there of the number 8 of Jamie Naknaveris, just getting a little bit low, just actually caught the yellow line and got on the apron a little bit, but managed to save the car. But up front, the high line is starting to work their way up there now.
Yeah, so Scotty Griffiths and Thomas Martin just leading each of the respective lines at the moment. And the ANZCAR marching 2 by 2 behind them. Good to see Andrew Dyson's clearly got those technical issues sorted out as he is running the gauntlet now in that low line. Chances of us seeing a third line develop, Carl, what do you reckon?
This early on, it would be a bit of a bit extreme to try it this early on. You generally, that's something you want to do towards the end of the race if you really want to go for it. Just noticed Brenton West just getting a little bit out of shape out of the corner. I think he's just getting a little bit of air on the car. A few of those drivers that will have had just minor damage will have to watch out for the temperature on the cars now, because you can damage your radiator a little bit. If you've got a little bit of damage to the radiators, running it in a pack like this is not good for the car because it does overheat quite quickly. You're getting all that exhaust gas coming from the car in front of you, and that is very hot air going into a hot engine, which cars do not like.
In preparation, of course, as well for what we've got coming up with the chase, because we're here in a week.
Yes, of course, Las Vegas tomorrow night for the chase, and then we will be at Dega the week after that, of course, because the iRacing servers were busy raining on our parade, and so we had to call off the Cup race and just postpone it for a week. Highline's got a good run out of the corner this time, though. The Highline's actually getting a really good run at the moment with Thomas Martin getting a very good charge up the front. He might even slide down in front of Scotty Griffiths at some stage. He's just got to try and keep Jaden Russell and Scotty Griffiths apart. Those two need to be watching out.
Gal, that's a good question. I don't know, we've called Lockie Capel the whole time we've been calling him, so he's never corrected us. It may well be that it's Capel. Well, if he gets up into the winner's booth again, we'll have to ask him. He was there on Monday night in the truck series, so we'll find out.
Yeah, from our co-commentator, he always calls him Capel, so I think that is the correct terminology for it. But it wouldn't be an ANZCAR broadcast without mispronouncing names. It is vitally important that I mispronounce names, otherwise people will think I'm too professional.
I mean, look, in today's world, of course, it could be Capley. So, I mean, you just never know. So, as a couple of drivers there just starting to squirm a little bit. This is what we like about these high-speed tracks like Talladega. There's, as you say, Carl, people probably think when you're talking earlier on about, what do you mean they don't get any rest? They're just driving around in a circle, turning left. But you literally are holding on for dear life the entire time while you're in the car, particularly when you're running in the draft as well. So there is absolutely no rest. 150% focus required here to make it round 68 laps without incident.
Yeah, generally on a track like this, the only time you've got your steering wheel pointing somewhat straight is actually in the corner, as odd as that sounds, because the car is set up to constantly turn left, so you have to be turning slightly right in a straight line. It's an odd feeling, and it's something that you get used to when you're driving these cars, of course, but you are constantly turning that steering wheel, and it's never sitting in a straight line, so you're sort of always holding the steering wheel pointing in one direction, which is it just throws it out of you sometimes if you're used to road racing. It's one of those things that can actually throw you out a little bit because you don't go in a straight line.
We jumped on board here with Norm Clark, and you see exactly what Carl's talking about there. We're driving down on the almost on the flat, but you can see that wheel there probably at around about 30 degrees, verging towards sort of 40 degrees. So always on it, and that's reflected in car as well. So it's sort of reflected with the driver driving with the steering wheel in their sim rig. So they equally are always holding left hand down. Some of the drivers end up leaning into that left, as you see a little bit of a move up there from Scotty Griffith. Not intentional, I don't believe.
Yeah, I think he just got a little bit loose out the corner there. Running as they are at the moment, he might just be getting a little bit warm on that right front and just getting a little bit loose. The car just gets that little bit, you just get that little bit of runaway on the car as you get out the corners sometimes. Generally, it's worse as you go through this tri-oval section here. So this section here, what we call the tri-oval. It's not a straight across the front here. But yes, it is just getting that part right. And sometimes you just get that tyre a little bit warm, and it does cause the car just to wander a little bit more than you would expect.
Just had confirmation there from Mark. I believe Mark is Lockie's father, so welcome to the stream, Mark, and it is capable. So we finally got one right, Carl.
We will make sure to get that one.
What do they say? A broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, that's it. Eventually we're right. Of course, Computer Technology Corporation, the sponsorship on Capel's car. And yeah, good to see that one there. So, and it's good to see Lachlan actually here tonight as well on the ovals. So, I think this is the first time we've seen him on the oval, because last couple of times it's been on the road courses, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, wow. Yes, he's a bit Andrew Dyson in that respect, which is certainly very capable on the circuit, and good to see him test himself out here on the oval. I know he's been working a bit with Scotty Rankin and that. As well, so maybe that's where this has come from, and good to see him out here.
Yeah, very much so. Scully just getting a little bit of a look on that inside, just trying to get a bit of a peek as well, because one of the other things as well is you don't really see it when you're looking from the camera views, is when you're actually racing, you're only seeing what's in front of you. Of course, it's not like you can't sit there in third person view, you can't sit behind the car, you are sitting looking out of the helmet effectively. You can only see in front of you in these cars. Some drivers will be using VR. Dave Douglas, for instance, he drives in VR. Some drivers will be driving with a single monitor, some drivers will be driving with a triple monitor, and that depends on your field of vision. Some drivers will not have a huge amount of vision to their side, and they rely on their spotters, who you have basically an AI system that just lets you know if there's a car inside or outside, and they rely heavily on that. Or you've got drivers with multiple monitors, or say VR, where you can actually look and see what's going on, but you still rely on those spotters to let you know when a car is high and low, because that you can't really see to the side of the vehicles in these things as they're going round. And that accident that we saw on the first lap, that was very much a spotter just getting it wrong. So it's very easy to happen, and look, it is a very tricky thing to do. As we said, it is a constant battle when you're driving these cars, and it is an endurance test as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I run VR, and I can tell you I prefer to run triple monitors in this setup, because the vision in VR is not as good peripherally, and you need every little bit you can get when you're running in these, and the triple monitors certainly help you with that setup. But as Carl said, it's very, very difficult to see anything other than
Thomas Martin slides down in front and gets the lead of this race. What will Scotty Griffiths do? Will he try and back up a little bit? Will we see Jaden Russell try and slide down in front of his teammate now as they try and organise themselves? They're running too wide at the moment, the two Synergy cars. They're going to try and get in with each other. Michael Skurlock is doing his best, so that can't happen. Skurlock is pushing Jaden Russell as hard as he can, so he can't link up with his teammate Scotty Griffiths at the moment. You can see right now they are side by side as they get across the line. Thomas Martin leads a lap here. Once again, Thomas Martin leading a lap at a super speedway as
Rocky.
Noddy Tompkins, I think that might have been in the SRM car, just getting a lap down. Quite a lot of damage on the front of that vehicle, and you can see the closing speed there when you're not in the draft. Mick Taylor, that was. Yeah, Mick Taylor missing the whole front end of that car. When you're not in the draft, you can see the closing speeds there. It is immensely quick. Good job from Mick, keeping nice and high there, out of the way of everybody, and just sliding in. He's just going to try and link up to the back of his teammates towards the back of the pack and see if he can help push them along a little bit. But it is between Martin and Jaden Russell at the moment. Jaden Russell is going to try his best to link up with his teammate. You can see Scotty Griffiths getting down the inside of Thomas Martin, trying to make the move.
There it is.
Doesn't happen, but Jaden Russell slides it in front now. Jaden Russell is in the lead of the race, leaving Skurley high and dry as he slides back up there. So he wants to link up with Scotty Griffiths at the moment. Those two cars want to get to each other. As there's a bit of contact from the back with Skurley, and we're 3 wide. David Stockton making the move in the DPR car. You can see Skurley joining him for a moment. He thinks better of it. Damon Stockton is going to lose out from this one. He's not got anyone to help him out. His teammate is trying his best, though. You can see Stephen Williams is trying to come up. So Stevie Dub is trying to get up there and help him out at the moment. So we are 3 wide here at Talladega.
Really, really interesting as people try and shuffle. You can see DPR now getting together. So Stockton and Stevie Dubb have got there. Down on the low line is Andrew Dyson, their other member. You've got Norm Clark sitting up there with...
It's going to get close on that high
there
line.
it is. There's a bunch.
Stevie Dubb loses it. They're into the wall. They've caught a lapped car, and there's somebody going round.
There it is, Lachlan Urquio.
Mick Taylor's going round.
There's a few.
Lachlan Urquio's gone round.
I think Jamie Nankervis might have been involved in that as well. Maybe Luke Georgeson.
Luke Georgeson as well. Yeah, look, they just caught that lapped car at the wrong time. So Damon Stockton was running up on that high line, and then all of a sudden they catch up to the back of... who was that? They catch up to the back of Tristan Cock. So Tristan had nowhere to go there. And that's the problem of running 3 wide this early in the race like this. Tristan had nowhere to go. They've caught up to him, of course. Tristan is basically out there on his own. He's got no speed. And then there's a huge check-up behind him. And you can see Mick Taylor gets up into the wall, tags the back of Luke Georgeson. Luke Georgeson gets into the back of Lachlan Urquio. Somehow Jamie Naknaveris just... That's going to be one to watch because he did an amazing job of saving that car. Jamie gets caught in the back end. He manages to somehow bounce it off the wall and then save it and get it going straight again. And that is a fantastic save for the number 8. A lot of damage on the rear, but that's not going to affect him too much.
Well, let's go back and have a look on board with Jamie then.
So he gets caught on the rear, bang into the wall, then straightens it out. What a fantastic job there from Jamie. That was a real absolute super save there because that was going around again if he wasn't careful. Bit of damage on the rear, but nothing more than that. So good job there from those guys. So expect the drivers to come into pit lane. They are going to come in right now, top it up with fuel, and this is going to be a crucial lap because fuel-wise, these cars can do about 40 to 45 laps on fuel. We've got 47 laps remaining. We're going to have a couple of these under caution. We might see another fuel-saving race, Stuart.
It wouldn't be unusual for us to see a fuel-saving race.
The funny... So last week, after a Skerlock makes a mistake in pit lane, he has to back it up a little bit. After last week, the admins were chatting away saying, look, we're trying our best to make this not a fuel-saving race, and every week, somehow, you guys manage to make it a fuel-saving race. So, yeah, everybody somehow making it fuel-saving races every time. So, good job from all.
Timmy Buckets has just asked, Carl, maybe you can help out with tyre sets. 2 tyre sets available in addition to the set they start with, so 3 in total?
Yeah, they get 3 sets of tyres for the race. So everybody gets the set they start on, and then they've got the chance to put 3 more sets of tyres on. So there's a 4-set limit for the race, just to make it so everybody doesn't dash in every time they see a caution. So there is that little bit of strategy for that one, of course. Same rules for the Cup. So tyre limit of 4 sets for them. All the drivers choosing to take all 4 sets of tyres as well in this pit stop. After 22 laps, they decided to get all 4 put onto the car and get away with that one. But maybe Matty Hunter.
That's what I was about to say. Matty Hunter hasn't jumped into pit lane. Now, how's that play on a super speedway?
He's going to be hoping for a late caution right here. He came in with the first caution, so Matty Hunter did come in on that first caution. So he has got some extra fuel.
Yeah, probably only fuel though.
Yep.
He certainly wouldn't have done tyres. So
no.
In terms of tyre life, how's that going to play out on the super speedway?
It's not going to be too bad. Tyres aren't a thing that drop off too badly here. Right. It's not like a short track where your tyres absolutely fall off a cliff. Here, it's more about being caught up in the draft. So what will happen is if Matty Hunter gets passed by a couple of cars, he can just sit on the rear of them. Of course, fresher tyres are generally better because, you might just find that those tyres do start to heat up a little bit, although I think he's coming into pit lane now.
I was going to say, now he's just blown the conversation out of the water by pulling into pit lane.
But you can absolutely start on worn tyres and not have too much of an issue. You have to be careful of spinning up the rear tyres, of course, but you would probably find it will be problematic. I'm just going to say, jump on board with Scotty Griffiths just quickly and take a listen to this. Very much the sound of silence if we listen to this. So himself and his teammate are both very much clutching it and not revving at all. So they are in fuel saving mode because they think they can make it to the end on fuel. So everybody throughout the field is having the same idea. There are a couple of drivers that are not quite going for it as much as some others, but this has become a race where if we go green from here on out, we may see a repeat of Talladega, of Daytona from a few years back in the ANZCAR Series, where it became a fuel race, where we saw those cars spluttering towards the end of the line. We saw Gary Wellman go from nowhere to take a victory, of course. It could become one of those races. Look who's worked his way up there as well, just quietly working his way up. Josh Mickelmore in the 31 Mitch Motorsport entry, just sneaking his way through the field. Andrew Dyson as well up there, sitting well. Great job from Brenton and Mitchell West. Both of the Wests up a decent amount of positions. Mitchell West up 20 positions. Brenton West up 11 positions, so they're the big gainers at the moment. Matty Ray up 17 positions as well, so keep an eye out for him later on in this race. But they are starting to form up 2 by 2, and they are going to be thinking about fuel saving for this one. It's going to be a thing of nobody's going to want to lead this race.
The only advantage here is that you've got two teammates on the front of the starting, or the restart I should say. So Russell and Griffiths, you expect them to form a line, and they will work together on that low line to try and potentially preserve fuel. Have some sort of strategy there between Russell and Griffiths to do that. Norm Clark will be looking for a friend as well, relatively quickly you would assume. And of course those DPR cars drop back a little bit now, so there's plenty to play out here, but you'd have to say that the Synergy boys have going to have an advantage here as we go green. And is Russell and Griffiths take us away? See Brendan West there, really important. He got a good start so that he could try and keep Scott Griffiths out from the low line. And he looks like he's going to be able to do that. Oh, they've chosen to go up to the middle line of the track. That's an interesting decision early on in the race. Not quite at halfway yet, so let's see how that plays out. So that effectively puts Brenton West at the head of that pack. And he's got Christopher Finlay behind him.
Yeah, Christopher Finlay there, and then it is Andrew Dyson as well, and then we've got Timothy West as well, Tim West as well back there just behind Dyso. So there are a few trying to work it out with each other. Now we know that Synergy and the boys at Synergy, they've got a bit of a working relationship, you could say, with Mitch Motorsport as well. Of course, Josh Mickelmore, one of the drivers that helped bring them, a few of them drivers over to the series. So Josh Mickelmore might be trying to get past Norman Clark to link up with Russell and Griffiths here, because he might have some friends to work with to help him towards the end of this race. But it's going to be the thing of leading is not the exact position you want to be in. Leading here is almost a death sentence for you for the end of the race, because it means you're going to run out of fuel coming towards the end unless we get a couple of other cautions.
Norm Clark will be beside himself to be sitting up there in fifth, one of everybody's favourites here in the ANZCAR League. He's doing a ripping job so far this evening.
Yeah, look, veteran driver Norman Clark, he has got a lot of skill, and if you glance back behind Norman Clark, he has got two teammates working their way up the field as well. He's got Foster and Carol Walden there, and they are both sneaking their way up past young Lachlan Capel and getting their way to that position. So Natari team are trying to work their way up there and trying to get another all-team lockout for ANZCAR. Of course, will anybody be able to do it tonight? We've seen it 3 times in the Cup for the Chase this season.
That's a theme, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's been a bit of a theme this season. Thomas Martin just jumping up to the high line. So he's just helped out Natari a little bit. Thomas Martin jumping up behind Josh Mickelmore. That's giving Foster the chance to have a little bit of breathing room. So he's going to get sucked up behind Mitchell West here. And that's going to get him one step closer to his teammate of Norman Clark. So that is good news for that team. They're just going to be slowly working their way up the field now and trying to link up with each other. And that's the hard part, is organising yourselves running at, close to 300 kilometres per hour is not an easy thing to do.
No, certainly not. So they just gradually edge their way into the position they want to be in. It's all about the long game here. The eye on the prize at the end, where you are in 27 laps in, I should say, almost inconsequential to where you will finish at the end of the race. As you've just seen there, Russell's Russell, my apologies, Griffith there, just keeps breaking a little loose in the number 5 entry. And I think whether or not that car is because he's just ducking, he's getting his nose just outside the back of the 28 there, and just catching the air, and that's probably unsettling the car a little bit. Just pulling him up and down the track.
He's getting a little bit of side draft as well. Of course, one of the things you get is when you're getting through the corner, of course, you get that side draft coming on because it's a left-handed corner. The air goes to the right-hand side and goes up the track almost, and it sort of makes a bit of a slipstream effect that way. And you can find it just makes the front of the car get a little bit loose, and that's why you see them wibbling and wobbling across the track a little bit. And it's because you sort of get the air lifting off the nose of the car, and these things don't have a huge amount of aero, they don't have a huge amount of downforce, but they have enough to make a difference. When you have a car chop in front of you, or when something changes all of a sudden, you feel it very quickly. That was the end of my race. For my one race here in the Xfinity Series this year. There was a slight movement in front of me, and the front end just got really loose all of a sudden, and around my car went. And it's very easy to have done. You've really got to be on it constantly. It is such a hard thing to do, and it just catches you out sometimes. You've just constantly got to be catching that car. It's almost it's a little bit like driving in the wet. I would liken it to, in the fact that you never know how it's going to be. Every corner's different. Every time you go into a corner, you can't get into a rhythm because it's always slightly different. You get hit by a slightly different bit of wind. You might have a change of direction of the wind as well, and that can affect the way the car balance works as well. Or you might have the car below you sitting in a slightly different line than it was for the few laps beforehand, and then all of a sudden the car feels completely different going into the corner, and you have a massive wreck. So that's sort of generally why you see those cars wobbling a lot, because something's just changed along the way. Of course, iRacing does have dynamic weather, of course, so the wind does change direction, the wind speeds up and slows down. So those things can catch you out. And as I said, if a car takes a slightly different line, that can also affect the way the aerodynamics works from behind it too.
As we all know what happens when the wind changes, so it can equally affect a race car. But it is still Brenton West now with Christopher Finlay. They're just edging away a little bit from Jaden Russell. They're coming up to some lap traffic as well, which I think will be Nathan Rawlick and, believe it or not, Matty Raymond, of all people. Actually, I may have that wrong. My apologies. I think that may actually be Mick Taylor. Yeah, Mick Taylor.
Yeah. Luke Georgeson and Nick Taylor.
Luke Georgeson and Nick Taylor there.
So that's generally why you don't want to run free wide too early at Daytona, Talladega, any super speedway, because those lapped cars need somewhere to actually get out of the way, and that high line is generally where they will go. And that's why we saw that second accident, is because that high line was starting to form up, and then all of a sudden you get a lapped car coming up. Those guys are going to be going around about 10, 15 kilometers per hour slower than you, and that makes a huge difference. And all of a sudden you have a huge checkup, and then the inevitable happens. I was going to say before that happened that the dropping back of that high line was going to help out Natari a lot, because it just gave the option for Norman Clark to try and actually get in with his teammates. So if that high line drops back another couple of car lengths, it gives Natari the option to actually slide in and have all three of their bullets chambered in their guns, so that they can get ready to actually attack with those cars and actually link them up as well. So that would be good news for that team. It's all about getting the teammates together now, and that's one of the tricky things. So you've got a few different teams running up there. You've got Brenton West, of course, his teammate and brother, I think, or father. It's one of the two. Mitchell West in the white and green version of that car, the 130. So those two will want to try and get linked up to work together. And then you've got Sim Boys, who are very spread out at the moment, because you've got Christopher Finley up there in sort of P3, P4. He's second in line on that low line. And then it's all the way back. Troy Davidson is the next driver in that line in 13th position. So they've got to try and link themselves up together with each other. So it's looking good for Synergy at the moment, because they've got their two cars linked up with each other at the moment. DPR are sort of, they're pretty spread out as well. And SRM are actually in a fairly decent position at the back of the pack with Matty Ray, Hamish Gallagher and Danny G. So they're sort of working with the Mitch boys right at the back of the pack. They're just sitting there, not using too much fuel, just waiting to see what happens. They're just sitting behind Stevie Dubb and Dave Douglas as well, sort of in their own little pack, waiting to see what happens with the front pack, just keeping their noses clean. So we'll see how that one turns out as we're getting past another lapped car, Tristan Koch there. So Tristan Koch's just getting past on the high, he's up on the high side once more. And that unsettles the pack once again, because you're going free wide. So you'll see the cars just dancing around a little bit. All of a sudden the cars get loose, and especially if you're sitting in that middle line, you get your spotter telling you that you're free wide, and that can be a little bit unsettling.
Yeah, most certainly it can be, particularly at 300 kilometres an hour.
It's funny. You forget about the speed that you're doing sometimes when you're racing like this. You're going along, you're just cruising along, and especially if it's been a nice long sort of stint where you're not racing too hard with each other and you just sort of gotten into a rhythm. You forget that you're going at 300 kilometers per hour, and then all of a sudden you get that call on the radio, free wide, and you look down, you're 300 kilometers per hour, and then all of a sudden the car gets really loose, the back end steps out, the front gets light, and you're just going, oh crap, I didn't realise this was happening. And that's where the old puckering up starts happening.
Absolutely, the old prisoner's nightmare. There's that gap there, they're just
little bit loose just for Cottrell there. Justin Cottrell and Michael Skurlock just have a little tiny moment. The Flying Whale Poo Racing Team, by its full name. I must say I absolutely adore that paint scheme and the logo on front of Cottrell. A very, very cool little thing. But he just got very loose. It looks like he's just having a little bit of balance issue in that mid-pack. He's just next to Skirley in the My Little Skirley car, as we see down the inside goes David Stockton going free wide again. Stockton gets into Cottrell, and big accident. We have got another big one.
That was an aggressive move there, and it has caused the big one.
Yeah, look, Joshua Carroll-Walden just got extremely lucky there.
Absolutely.
I tell you, a good place to observe that from would be the right rear of JCW's car, because that was a very hairy moment there for him. But you can see, unfortunately, Cottrell nowhere to go. Stockton just running right down the inside there, getting caught up with that one. And Cottrell just sort of got caught up with that one, and boom, it's Troy Davidson. So look at that.
It's over the back of Noddy Tompkins' car. He got lucky as well. Almost got wrecked in that event, but there are a number of drivers caught up in that. Just trying to have a look to do the same out of back of JCW. There you go. Wow, just down the inside.
And
there was the yo-yo as well, so he's gone right off and then gone straight back out and up into the high line behind them. So there's no wonder that people got caught out by that. And JCW be counting his lucky stars, that is for sure.
Yeah, that was a scary moment for a lot of drivers there. That would have been a big one, and unfortunately, there Cottrell, say first time seeing him out there, Just a sort of unfortunate incident there. Very aggressive move by Stockton. I think Cottrell just got a little bit squirrely and just went into Stockton. So it was sort of one of those moves that, again, this stage of the race, maybe a little bit too much aggression. But, you know, as a racing driver, you do tend to go for it.
You certainly do.
So they're going to come into pit lane and top up on fuel, and this means they can get to the end on fuel. Looks like JCW might be sticking it out there. So JCW's decided to stick it out there with Lachlan Arquio.
Norm Clark as well.
Foster, though,
gone in.
has come into pit lane. So Foster's decided to risk it. Norman Clark and Joshua Carroll Walden have both decided that they think they can do it to the end. With this caution, of course, this gives them a little bit of leeway. And what I might do is we might just grab up the 83 of Matty Ray quickly.
Yeah, let's have a chat with Mr. Sheen, Matty Ray himself. See how the night is treating him.
Good evening, Mr. Matty Raymond.
G'day, mate. How you going?
Good, thank you. So I was just waiting for a decent spot to grab you up quickly, so we didn't surprise you too much. Very close there. We saw Noddy, I imagine, was a bit scared of that one on the old radio, I imagine.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you got a bit excited, you could say.
Very, very, very close incident there. We saw you guys running towards the back a little bit more. Are you just trying to keep out of trouble tonight?
Yeah, that was the original plan, but the other three lads got caught up in the first wreck, so that sort of threw that plan out the window. So now I'm just chilling a bit, waiting for the right time, and then I might start trying to get the elbows out a bit and go towards the front.
Obviously get back to go time. I mean, being that you're currently leading championship as well at the moment, does that make any difference for you, or are you just not thinking about that aspect?
Nah, not even thinking about it really. I mean, we're all here to have fun really more than anything. So yeah, it doesn't really play into my mind. I am sort of hanging around Hamish and keeping an eye on him, of course, but that's just the usual, you know. Him and Stevie Dubb and all these boys, just keeping an eye on them.
That's it. Well, you got to keep an eye on those boys. Make sure they don't get up to anything too naughty. Look, good luck for the rest of the race, Matty. Thanks for coming up to the booth. And we will hopefully catch you later on.
Cheers, boys. Ta.
Matty Ray there for the SRM team. Nice to have a chat to him. Obviously, for his teammates, Mick Taylor, Nathan Rollock and Noddy Tompkin, both all getting caught up a little bit. Noddy just getting very lucky not to get completely taken out in that one earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. Got very, very lucky.
So a few drivers sticking it out there. So young Lachlan Capel stuck it out there as well. So he is running up there, but he is missing the front end of that car. So he is going to struggle. The CTC sponsorship missing from the front of that car. So that's not what we want to see, and not what the sponsors want to see either. They like it when they can see the whole sponsorship on the car generally. So he's had a fairly good run, but unfortunately getting caught up in that incident. Not much you can do in those situations.
And this is where it is going to be good. So again, we've got a situation where we've got teammates at the front who are going to be able to try and control this race to a certain extent. Lachlan Urquio, a solid driver behind them, so along with Ben Vickers. So there's a few around who don't have the support to be able to form that own chain and then have a run.
Tricky thing now is you've got cars with damage, so both Vickers and Urquio both have some damage on them. Of course, Capel has damage on there as well. So Brenton West is the first of those cars with a clean nose that have come into pit lane. So they don't have to worry about fuel and they can just push. But as you said, Clark and Carol Walden up there at the front, they are going to be sitting in their spot and doing what they can now to lock out the front and try and keep this race to a pace, because they're going to want to try and actually get to the end now. And will they be able to do it on fuel? Because, of course, these laps under pace car will give them a little bit of extra mileage.
Yeah, absolutely, it'll help. Teammate Edward Foster's down in 13th at the moment after pit stop. He's got Josh Mickelmore and Damon Stockton around him, so he's got his own issues to deal with to try and make his way back up to the front of the field, and he would love dearly to jump into the train with his teammates.
Very much so, as the pace car will be peeling in once more. And just noticed, Gail Foster just mentioned it, you could feel that crash coming, and absolutely you could. It's one of those things, just you sort of feel these incidents and you get a notice on what's going to happen. We are going to go green here at Talladega. We've got 29 laps remaining. It's going to be Norman Clark leading away in the 09 Atari car, and we are green. Away he goes. JCW on the outside. Lachlan Equia behind him with Ben Vickers in the Juice Digital car behind him in fourth. Good start for Natari. Juice the digital car not getting away. Ben Vickers just getting away a little bit slow, and that's not what JCW wants to see. He needs to try and slot down behind his teammate at the moment. Foster sort of caught up at the top there as they go free wide. You can see just going free wide with Brenton West up on that high line to try and get past a few of those cars with damage. The Synergy cars are working their way up there. They got a great job. Ben Vickers and Foster have got contact. Into the wall goes Foster and Vickers. Big incident for them. Will we see a caution? Doesn't look like it.
Go back and have a quick look at that when we can. Evan Foster is resuming.
Front, we have a change for the lead. It is going to be JCW, I think, in the lead.
Yes, it is. JCW, Scott Griffiths up the front. So we've got Natari versus Synergy, and Josh Mickelmore, you called it, Carl, getting involved with Synergy as well. So it's not effectively, but we've got 3 versus 2 here, as Mickelmore will team up for this run to try and take advantage of it. And also, you can see there as well, Thomas Martin getting in on the action. Damon Stockton too, so that high line there working effectively.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting one for them, because of course those cars have got, they know they can get to the end on fuel. They don't have to worry about fuel, whereas JCW and Norman Clark may have to have a bit of a think about that one. So they could be in a little bit of trouble. So there was a big check-up at the start as Ben Vickers looked like he maybe started in the wrong gear or missed a gear, and there was a big check-up behind him. That caused them to go free wide up to the first corner. There was a little bit of contact between Finley and Vickers, and that pushed Finley up into Foster. Foster went into the wall pretty hard, but no major damage to that car. So he's coming into pit lane, actually. So I think he might be needing to get a bit of a repair done or something like that. So not good news for Foster having to stop under green. But we have got a race up at the front. It is Joshua Carroll-Walden in the lead at the moment on the low line. Scott Griffiths in the lead on the high line at the moment. We've got two teams with 2 cars up at the front at the moment, both trying to get a win. And you've got the ever-present Pirate King, Josh Mickelmore, sitting back there, hopefully with 2 eyes again, maybe still with 1. We'll have to find out if he jumps up in the booth.
The Pirate King. One-eyed Josh, for those of you who don't know what Carl's talking about there, he raced last week for 2 nights with a bee sting to the eye. He only had 1 eye, basically, so hence the pirate comment.
Yes, there was a few nicknames floating around, but we thought the Pirate King was probably the better one. The one-eyed snake was not that popular with him, apparently.
No, I can imagine why. Just could just say that he floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. But anyhow, it is Josh Mickelmore in that top line. It's definitely a top versus bottom situation, as we're 43 through 68 here. Few damaged cars in the pack. Andrew Dyson just sitting there as well, managing in that low line. He's had a relatively quiet night by commentators' standards, and that is a good thing. And he hasn't been involved in anything untoward. He's got a very clean car too. He's got Damon Stockton on his right, so he and Damon will be trying to get together where they can, if they can, to form and work as those teams work up the front. This is one of the things that is unique to NASCAR that I absolutely love, is this strategy that comes into it. It's not just turning left. That's what you think when you're on the wrong channel. Plenty to play out in this race.
Indeed, but I've just noticed down in the care centre we've got the 53 of Foster sitting in there. So we might grab him up and make sure he's okay.
Hold on to your ears, people.
Edward Foster, unfortunate there. Looked like you just got squeezed. Just looked like there was a little bit of a check-up in front of you there, and then the bad things started to roll on from then.
Yeah, driving a straight line's pretty hard, isn't it, when the track's really wide? It's a really difficult thing, especially if you've got other cars kind of next to you. It's, you got to go straight and everything. It's hard.
Yes. Obviously, not too impressed with that incident then.
No, not really. I mean, there's a massive check-up in front. For what reason, I don't know. I mean, all you have to do around here is hold the throttle down and turn. And for some reason, there was a massive check-up in front. Pulled out to the high line, was up there behind Dyson, and was just waiting to clear the two guys beneath me before we were able to get clear and go again. And, that's when we decided that a zigzag would be the preferred line, and we'll just go from there. So, unfortunate, but we'll have to go back out there and try and get the points we can get.
Look, sad to hear that one. Just a quick one on your teammates, JCW and Norman Clark out there, of course, not stopping for fuel. Are they going to be able to make it, do you think, or is it going to be a bit touch and go?
If I thought we could make it, I wouldn't have stopped.
Okie dokie. Cheers, Ed. Look, hopefully it goes better next time out for you.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, mate. Once we get to the tracks that actually require driving, rather than just running at half throttle in a line, we'll be all right.
Cheers, Ed.
Scott Griffiths there just gets down in front of Joshua Carroll Walden. Sorry, Carl, that was, of course, the godfather himself, Edward Foster, just coming on, not impressed, as you would expect. Two teammates now running up in front, but they have succumbed to Scott Griffiths, who is now on that low line, and he is bumper to bumper with Joshua Carroll Walden behind him.
Probably not a bad thing for JCW and Norman Clark, in all honesty, because this is just going to help with their fuel mileage a little bit now. So this gives them the chance to have that run off the corner, and probably the one that will gain best from this is going to be somebody like Norman Clark, because he's going to get that nice toe from the corner. He could actually get a really good run. Watch out for Thomas Martin as well. We've seen him be quick at the end of the super speedways. That high line is just dropping off a little bit as well. Sorry, excuse me, just dropping off a little bit as well, as Jaden Russell in front of Josh Micklemore and David Stockton. So it's just struggling a little bit with that high line. You can see JCW just absolutely hustling Scotty Griffiths along, because Scotty Griffiths wants to try and slow this race down a little bit so he can get it in linked with his teammate Jaden Russell. And JCW is just bump drafting him, absolutely nudging him along with his nose, just completely saying, look, no, this low line is going at this speed. If you want to come down here, mate, you're going to have to go at this speed. Otherwise, get out of my way and keep going on that high line.
Yeah, that'll be taking a little bit of a weight off the back of Griffiths as well, so it'll make it a little bit scary or hairy for him. So he has to consider what he does here. You can just see there on the right of his shot as Jaden Russell starts to pull along beside him. JCW will be very aware of this experienced campaigner, just making sure that he does not allow Jaden Russell to get down on this inside line.
One of the things that he has to be cautious of as well, of course, when you're actually doing things like that, is not getting your engine too hot, because all of a sudden that thing will go pop and that is your night over and done with, and that can cause a big wreck, especially up here at the front. When an engine blows, the car tends to go a lot slower, a lot quicker, and that can cause a big accident. Luckily, of course, there is no oil modelled into iRacing, so we don't have a nice oily track after an engine goes pop, but it still causes trouble.
In development, I think, Carl. Should be.
No, please,
haven't got rain, but let's get some oil happening.
I do not want to see concrete dust and oil on tracks. I could deal with rain, oil, nope.
I can model
Dave Douglas
some...
getting a good run with Skirley at the moment at the back as well. Those two are trying to work their way through the field, just on the back of Mitchell West as well. So there are a few different drivers just getting a bit racy now. We've got 19 laps remaining, so we are getting to the tail end of this race. So a few people just getting a little bit racy, working their way through the field and just starting to think about the end of this race now, just trying to work out how they're going to do it, where they want to go, and where they want to be sitting for the closing stages of this race. Oh, around goes Griffiths! Griffiths is around with JCW, just giving him a nudge there. So Griffiths just goes down on... Griffiths just gets a little bit high there. gets caught by JCW, and that spins Griffiths round. The 5 is round. JCW is going to drop to the back of the pack. We're still green flag racing,
no caution. No caution.
No caution. No caution. So that's going to put Jaden Russell in the lead of the race with Josh Micklemore in second. Norman Clark's just going to be sitting behind him.
It's got the replay on screen now. Go back quickly and have a look at it from the perspective as well of Joshua Carroll-Walden. Let's do that now.
So it looks like we'll have to go back again.
Just missed the start of that there. Sorry, everyone. We'll just have another quick look.
So it looks like Griffiths has gone up a little bit and then tried to come back down the line, and just the spotters just not let him know that there was a car on the inside, and that gets caught on the front of JCW's nose. JCW not giving the room because that line is your line. And look, one of those racing incidents, unfortunately. Big shame for Scotty Griffiths because he was having a fantastic night, really good speed as well. But that's the trouble with super speedway racing. As we said, this is the part where fatigue comes in as well. Fatigue will start setting in around about now, and it's very easy to make a little mistake like that because you're getting tired. You've done 52 laps of this race, and all of a sudden something like that can happen. Watch Damon Stockton on the outside as well. He's got some really good speed, and we've seen Stockton be very, very aggressive tonight as well. Josh Micklemore just jumping up to the outside line. They're going to go 3 wide. Stockton on the high side, out on his own at the moment, trying to make a move. He's going to try and squeeze down Josh Micklemore and try and squeeze into that position. Will he make it? They're side by side at the moment. Stockton on that high side, Norman Clark on the low side with Thomas Martin there on the low line getting pushed along. Stockton has got caught out there on his own. That's not a good place to be as they're getting up to lap traffic as they go 4 wide across the track. They squeeze it through. Somehow they make it past that.
Unbelievable. 4 wide. I tell you what, those lap traffic guys would be wondering what the heck they've done wrong. Damon Stockton, great driving from everyone there. Good awareness.
Tell you what, if you were sitting on, it's happening again.
Oh,
if you were sitting on a lump of coal, it would be a diamond by about now. That was a deep inhalation of breath. This has given Norman Clark and Thomas Martin a chance to get a good run. They got Daiso and Dave Douglas behind them. Watch this low line now. That low line is absolutely flying now. They've got a really good run at the moment. Norman Clark taking over the lead of this race. Jaden Russell on the high line. He's still leading that high line with Josh Micklemore on there and Brenton West. Brenton West is linked up with his family member.
Father. It is his father.
Brother. Okay. Yeah, brother. All right, there we go. We now know because we always call it the wrong family member. Mitchell West there, so the brothers have linked it up together. So that's good news for those two.
I did say it was his father, but we'll keep going on with brother. That's fine, it's his father. But anyway, let's move along. 3 wide again here. Damon Stockton returns to the fray. And no surprises at all to see Josh Micklemore just sneaky up into 4th. Doing a good job there in the Mitch Motorsport entry. Nice clean car as well. It's pretty clean in those front 5, 6 cars, actually 7 cars. Even Dave Douglas, he's just snuck up as well. In fact, he's our biggest move of the night so far. 28 positions for Double D. And he's got Mickey Skurlock, who he likes to work with, coming along through too as well. So this is going to be absolutely a cracking finish for them to go here at Talladega, round 6 of the Xfinity Thunder Series on FGM Cast, thanks to ANZCAR.
And we're going to be getting up to lap traffic again in probably about a minute or 2, maybe less. They are going to be coming up to a couple of lapped cars once again, so get ready to take a deep breath and hold on to something as this happens, because again, if somebody tries to take it 3 wide, they are going to really get close through here. This track gets very, very tight very quickly when you're passing cars, especially over 300 kilometers per hour. These guys are definitely moving fast, and you've really noticed that difference of speed when you're catching up to a car that is doing barely any of that. So they're catching up to a pack of cars that will be doing probably around about, let's see who it is. They're catching up to a group of cars that are about 10, 15 kilometers per hour slower than them. So there is a huge difference in pace that they're going to catch up to, and there are a few wounded cars out there as well who are still racing on to get some decent finishing positions. But you know, they're travelling around at even 50 kilometers per hour less speed than the front pack, and that's where it does get a little bit scary.
Thomas Martin right on the back bumper of Norman Clark.
As we get up to that pack of cars, we're going to be going 3 wide because there are about 5 cars battling for position at the moment in that secondary pack, as Jaden Russell's trying to make the move to try and get out in front and catching up to that other group of cars right now. Will Jaden Russell try to get down on that inside line? Look at Norman Clark keeping that low line held, but they are catching up to them very quickly. It's Scott Griffiths, the first car that's going to be there. Jaden Russell's got a nice run on that high side line, and it's going to be 3 wide across this section of track. And as they go into the corner, it's going to be 3 wide again, as they're going to get very close here. 3 wide through the corners of turns 3 and 4. They all look to have made it through nice and clean. All of those drivers going lap down, pulling into a decent position there. Nice driving by all involved there.
It was indeed. Make sure they can get their way through there. Get a bit hairy high glue, but not too bad in comparison to what we've seen so far. 4 wide.
The one thing that does do for those cars that have gone a lap down now is they can try and clip themselves onto the back of this pack and keep themselves in this race. We've got 10 laps remaining at the moment. It's a 0-9 of Norman Clark versus the 28 of Jaden Russell as they make contact. Clark into Russell, and I think Martin just got into the back of Clark. Big incident at the front, and that is a big one. That is pretty much the whole field involved there. Oh, the humanity.
My goodness me. What just happened?
Big accident there. That, as we say, the big one is only a few moments away, and the big one happened. So I think when we go back and actually have a little look at that, looks like Thomas Martin got into the back of Norman Clark, pushed him up into Jaden Russell, and then the whole field getting caught up in that one, unfortunately. Pretty much the whole lead pack getting caught up in that crash, and I don't think there's going to be a car out there without any damage. I did see one car sliding by. Watch for Brenton West. Watch on board with Brenton West, I'd say. That's going to be the car to watch on board for.
Mitchell West?
Brenton West or Mitchell West, it doesn't matter, either of them, because they both got very close in that one. But Brenton West made it through.
Skirley got caught up in all that as well. So this is the incident from the outside. Just seeing who else got caught up in that. Daiso, Micklemore as well. Daiso couldn't quite get out the way there. He's had a second incident there on the back of the 104 of Christopher Finlay. So there has been a lot of drivers involved in that one, and that's Skirley's. That's unfortunately looks like night over for Daiso as well. That car is blowing a lot of smoke. So let's go back here and have a look on board with Brenton West. So,
yeah, the seas parted for Brenton West there. So watch this one.
Oof.
He gets a little bit of a tap from Mitchell West as well, just in the back. So just a little bit of damage in the back, but the front is pretty much unscathed. So that car is looking pretty good. Stevie Williams as well, getting through that one relatively unscathed. So he's managed to slide his way up there. So Stevie done a lot of damage to the back of that car, but relatively unscathed. Nathan Rollock making his way through there too. So Nathan Rollock up there in P3 at the moment with about 3/4 of a car left. And Matty Hunter as well. I'm up in P4 with a relatively clean looking
car. Yes.
Don't look at the back, but from the front it looks pretty good. Noddy Tompkins as well. We heard from we heard from their teammate Matty Raymond talking about how all their teammates got caught up in that incident early on and were having trouble. Well, they all managed to get their way up there, and of course the man himself, Mr. Sheen,
clean,
has
polished.
Yeah, there are a few little marbles on the nose of that car.
Brand new. Brand spanking new.
basically factory made. That is something else.
And you know what, as well, Dave Douglas there, even though he was heavily involved in that, unfortunately, bystander, he's only got a very, very small amount of damage on that too. So he got out of that a little bit lightly. Obviously, plenty of runoff here at Talladega, and it looks like it might have just worked to his favour. So he's back up into 9th position. But we'll just quickly have a look back here. Matty Hunter, what a run for him. And Trev called it early on. Trev Micklemore in the chat said that Brenton West was going to be the one for the win. So we've got 9 to go here. We're going to have 7 I think 7 to go. Yeah, should be 7 to go by the time the lights go out on the pace car. And you'd have to say, I reckon we're going to be looking at a really close, probably 3 or 4 way across the line finish here.
It's going to be really close here. It's going to be hard to call. Guys to watch out for. Hamish Gallagher. We've not spoken about Hamish Gallagher all night long. That car is pristine at the moment. He's just ahead of Matty Raymond. Danny G, of course, the last lap wonder kid. Das Wunder Kid.
Das Wunder Kid.
Yeah, we saw what he can do on the last lap. And he did a great job of getting through in the Cup Series last time out to make his way from 5th position up into 3rd position out of nowhere. So fantastic stuff from him. So there are a few drivers there that could be making their way up. There are a couple of cars with some serious damage up the front. As I say, Nathan Rollock missing the whole front end of that car. Noddy Tompkin missing the bonnet of that car. So Hamish Gallagher is going to be in a relatively decent position, as well as Matty Ray. So and Danny G, of course. Always watch out for Dave Douglas. He is going to be quick. JCW is going to be looking for some redemption. He's going to want to try and work his way back up there. We saw him get knocked out earlier on and going sort of out of position. But he's now sort of within grasp of catching up to those guys. So this could be really interesting. The biggest one to lose out in that one was Josh Micklemore. Not a huge amount of damage to that car. He's come into pit lane and got some repairs done, so he could be looking good to the end of this race. As I say, 7 laps remaining here tonight for Talladega, and it is going to be Brenton West leading away in the number 113 Panther watermelon-esque liveried car. But we've seen Brenton West just have some fantastic races and fantastic finishes all season long. Could this be his chance for breaking the duck and getting that first victory? Or will we see the 98 of Stevie Dubb get a win tonight? Series 1 champion, of course, earlier this year. That would be some sweet stuff for Stevie Dubb, of course. And Matty Ray is going to be pretty chuffed if he can finish within the top 5 tonight, because that's going to be really good news for his championship, especially if he can finish ahead of Hamish Gallagher.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stevie Dubb, we haven't seen him up in the booth for a little while. He was a regular quite some time, so he'll be happy, as you said, if he can get this one across the line. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take this one out. There's plenty of contenders as the pace car drops down to the yellow line under control of Brenton West here. When's he going to go? Just holding on.
Of course, you've got to wait a little bit of time here. You can't go too quickly.
Don't go too early.
Because that start-finish line is a long way around, so just about halfway now, and it's just going to be dropping to green very shortly, and we will be going green here for Talladega for Wednesday Night Thunder, the Xfinity Series here on FGM eCast. Good start for Brenton West and Stevie Dubb. Rollock actually getting a good start despite missing most of the front end of that car. Matty Hunter as well up there. Look at Hamish Gallagher putting pressure on Matty Hunter already. You can see the SRM boys moving their way up to let their teammate pass. They're going to go 3 wide just to help their teammate Matty Ray get underneath them. Matty Ray getting a good charge right now, getting up to the back of Brenton West. Matty Ray on an absolute charge.
There it is.
Tom can just get loose, but manages to save it, so we're not going to get a caution flag out. Good job from that one, saving that one. Stevie Dubb getting a good run on the outside with Matty Hunter on his back with Hamish Gallagher there. Brenton West in the lead at the moment. Matty Hunter on the outside. You can see the Mitch Motorsport cars are linking up with each other now. It's the Mitch cars of Gallagher Danny G and Josh Micklemore, they're going to link up with each other as well. So this could be an interesting one. Mitch Motorsport might be able to link up and get a really good result here now. 6 laps remaining. This is going to be a classic finish. You just got the feeling it's not over yet. You get that feeling we might see one more caution at least. Brenton West still in the lead, but Stevie Dobb getting a good push out the corner at the moment, with Matt Hunter just behind him. And you can see those Mitch cars trying to work their way up, but Michael Skurlock is really trying to block him from having that happen. Skurley is trying to be the fly in the ointment for that one, but can't quite stick it out. He's dropped to the low line behind Nathan Rolock there. So Matt Skurley has just dropped to that low line for the moment, keeping his nose clean. The Mitch boys are working it up 3 wide of the high line, so it's 3 wide of the top line. Stevie Dobb's seen it. He's trying to link up to the top there, trying to break it up there. You can see Matt Hunter trying to get up there as well to stop them from breaking away. Meanwhile, Dave Douglas is on a bit of a charge with Matty Raymond at the front as they're going to cross the line. 5 laps remaining. Dave Douglas has gone up to the high line to get in front of Stevie Dobb. Still Brenton West in the lead. Matty Raymond in second. They're going to go 3 wide across the line. You can see Matty Ray jumping up to the high line to try and get past Brenton West. He's going to get it done here by the looks of it. Brenton West hung out to dry a little bit on that low line. He's got Nathan Rolock just behind him. Matty Ray and Dave Douglas pushing each other along with Stevie up there. Matt Hunter in the middle there. They're 3 wide. They're getting a bit waddly. Watch out for the Mitch Motorsport cars as they are on that high line at the moment. You can see Josh Micklemore getting a bit of a push from Hamish Gallagher. Dave Douglas drops to the inside line. Matty Ray sees that and drops in there with him.
It's an unbelievably close run to the finish here. Mitch Motorsport boys are coming on the outside line. They're working together there. You can see that Josh Micklemore, Hamish Gallagher pushing one another along, and Matty Hunter now has dropped down into the low line. He's taken over from Nathan Rolock there. Michael Skurlock gets held out to dry as he's in the middle lane now. Where can he go? Can he get up onto the back of Stevie Dobb? The Mitch boys try to join in, but Skurley cancels the plans and says, "You're not invited to this party, fellas. We're going to have our run in the midline." And I can tell you there, you can see Stevie Dobb getting up high in that line, just cutting him off a little bit there, but he's working. Skurley, we're 4 wide. We're 4 wide again. Skurley trying to make his way through. He wants to get up behind into this lead pack if he can, and he's going to do it. He's going to join in. So this is anybody's race with 4 to go. Matty Raymond. He's got Dave Douglas behind him trying to work with Brenton West and Matty Hunter in the midline. Skurley now was going to be in command of that top line. He hasn't quite moved up there. He is holding off as he gets there now with Stevie Dobb. So we're 3 wide again. The Mitch boys trying that midline now, seeing if that works for them as we've got 4 to go. It's about to be 3 to go here at Talladega.
It's important for those drivers to work together to keep those Mitch cars behind him. If those Mitch cars can break away, they will get this race won. But Brenton West is back in the lead. He's going to try and drop down in front of Matty Ray, I would say, at some stage, or will he drop up in front of Skurlock? He can't quite make it. Matty Ray gets a really good drive off the corner. Dave Douglas just pushing him along at the moment. Matty Hunter trying to help him. You can see the Mitch boys have got in the middle. The Mitch boys are now on the back of Matt Hunter, Brenton West. So the Mitch boys are trying to push along. That midline's going to go fast now. Watch the midline push away and watch those Mitch Motorsport boys try and break away with it. The midline has to try and slow it down a little bit so the Mitch cars can't get the chance to get past. They've got 2 laps remaining. Matty Ray, Dave Douglas on the low line. You've got Skurlock, Stevie Dobb on the high line, Matt Hunter keeping in the middle, just trying to keep those Mitch boys behind him with Brenton West in front. Will Brenton West be able to hold off the charging Mitch Motorsport boys? Will Matty Ray be able to hold them off? They've really got to keep them from getting in front of them, because if those Mitch boys can get past, they're going to be in with a shout. 2 laps remaining here tonight. We've got Matty Hunter, just getting a little bit loose. He's gone up high. Danny G joining him up on the high line. So it's a Mitch Motorsport have got 2 lines working for them at the moment, as Josh Micklemore's trying to make the pass. He's trying to push his way through. He can't quite do it. Almost gets loose there. You can see just crossing up for Josh Micklemore there as he gets in there. Michael Skurlock now has worked his way behind Dave Douglas. Working his way up to the front is Michael Skurlock, just behind Dave Douglas and Matty Ray. Gary Wellman up there as well. Wellman, we've seen before, have a really good strong end to the stint. We've got a lap car coming up as well.
It's Lachlan
Capel there, so he's going to probably want to try and drop right to the low line, just get out of this one, because there are a lot of lead cars coming up. And you don't really want to get involved in this one, and he does indeed drop right to the low line. The white flag is out. It is Matty Raymond in the lead at the moment. Lachlan Capel just drops right to the low line, gets out of the way of the leaders there. Good job from him. Dave Douglas sticking to the back of Matty Raymond at the moment. Michael Skurlock, watch out for Gary Wellman as well. Wellman might have a good charge. The Mitch boys of Hamish Gallagher and Josh Micklemore are both working it, trying to get there. Matty Ray sitting in the middle of the track, trying to block his way there, trying to keep his position locked in there. It's going to be hard as they get to the tri-oval. Dave Douglas is looking good at the moment. Gary Wellman's managed to slot himself up in the front of that high line now. Gary Wellman could get a charge here. Will we see Skurlock jump up there as well? Skirley's trying to get into that high line. Will he manage it? Not quite. Looks like Hamish Gallagher's engine's blown. Hamish Gallagher has lost his engine. It's going to be Matty Ray in the lead. Will Dave Douglas be able to get the pass done? Not quite. It's going to be Matty Ray taking the win. Matty Raymond takes victory at Talladega.
What a finish there. A motor blown on the last corner as well. And you saw there that it was Danny G who got really, really loose too. Managed to avoid taking out anyone else until they'd crossed the start-finish line. My goodness me, what a finish to this race here at Talladega. You would not have been able to pick that out of a hat if you tried.
Matty Ray, Dave Douglas, Michael Skurlock, what a top three that is. Stephen Williams, Gary Wellman, Brenton West finishing 6th. Brenton West has consistently finished P5, P6 this season, and once again doing it. Thought tonight could have been the night for Brenton West to finally get that win. Great job from him to get up there. Matty Hunter, P10 in the end.
Absolutely, and even the technology gods were with us. I just got notification that the stream crashed after the race had finished, but we're back live again now, so apologies for that there, just to bring you the celebrations here for Matty Ray. And tell you what, a cracking finish. Looking forward to bringing Matty Ray, Dave Douglas and Michael Skurlock up into the booth. Steve Williams, a solid finish from him in 5th, Gary Wellman in 4th, Gary Wellman in 5th. So a ripping job there from the three at the end. No teammates on the podium, so a really good run from them.
No teammates and 2 solo drivers. That says a lot. Both Dave Douglas and Michael Skurlock, both solo entrants out there. Of course, Mickey Skurlock has got his BMX bandits around him, but Dave Douglas and Michael Skurlock, neither of them in teams, just running out there solo, and both managing to get up there for the top 3 positions. But Matty Ray for SRM taking out that victory. That is the finish you want for tonight. That is fantastic for Matty Ray, and that's great news for his championship as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A ripping job done by him. So hopefully everyone caught the end there. I think we did, which is good. I don't know about you, Carl, but I'm out of breath.
Well, I think I'm going to need to lay down after that one. That was a absolute fantastic finish there. What an absolute blast to the end there. Great job by all of those drivers. We're just waiting for a few of them to lurk their way up into the booth. I grab down.
Just how close they ran for so long as well.
Yeah, but that finish was absolutely ripped. That is how you do. That's a proper super speedway finish. Yeah, really good finish there. I'm lost for words for once there. But let us start speaking again as we get the top 3 up there. We'll start with P3 man, Mr. Michael Skurlock. Great to have you back in the booth, Mr. Skurley. Welcome back up here. That was a absolutely mad finish there.
Scottish bagpipist, mate. They call me now.
The Scottish piper himself, the Welsh wonder, the Irish irrigation expert, Mr. Michael Skurlock.
The Irish irrigation expert.
That was a chaotic race for me, mate. I had a few sort of games within a game going on there. Early on, the VR went out, so I was having to drive through. I don't know if you ever had the VR go out, but it's still on the screen, so it's like you got the VR up on top of your head now, and you're trying to peer down on your screen, little laptop-sized thing, trying to see what's going on. So that happened halfway through, and then I had a cat trying to get out the door, so I was trying to angle myself out as I was in battles, trying to lean out to get the doorknob, could never get there, and then it started hitting buttons on the keyboard and all sorts, mate. So
that's like an eventful race, really. I mean, yeah, there were a few incidents as well there too. As well, you got caught up in on the track, and it wasn't just off the track as well. There was plenty of action on the track as well. Cats, VR, and accidents tonight. You had all three of them happen, and you still managed to finish in P3 somehow.
Yeah, I sort of got lucky with the way that the accidents went. I think I was involved in a couple of them, but just sort of light ping pongs, mate, grazes off people, and these cars don't seem to absorb the damage as badly. So like, it doesn't. When you get it fixed, they seem to do a better job of buffing it out, mate. So I went and pitted that last time, and I think that's what did it. I reckon. I mean, we couldn't have got any better. I was going to say if Davo fixed his car, he could have got better, but we got as far up as we needed to be right there. So that's what we needed.
Oh, look, it is all you needed. And I got to ask you, it looked like you were battling pretty hard those last few laps to try and keep the Mitch Motorsport train behind you as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Just going, mate, just driving forward.
Screw the door is told.
Yeah, like I said, I couldn't have the option of knowing where anything was because I was just peering down the eye of a needle, mate, looking at the front of me. I don't know, mirror. I had couldn't tell who was next to me because all that stuff was for VR. Like I can look around and find that stuff. The screen gets locked in and I can't see anything. So I was just staying behind Dave. That's all I was doing at the end there.
Dave was your guide dog then. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's it. Dave did a great job of leading you through the
Follow
pack.
the smell, mate.
You hooked yourself up to his casting couch and just got along there nicely. Look, congratulations on P3, mate. The usual thing of shout out and love to anyone you'd like to say to us tonight.
Yeah, just the Banditos. It's very rare that we get a couple of bandits in the booth. Mirko almost made it. Got over halfway, so we're giving him a plug for that. It's good for him. And well done to Matty. It's good to see him get a win. I wanted Norman to win because I think that'd make his day, but that last wreck took him out. But
Yeah, Norman needs to win.
yeah, I would have liked to see him get that win. But yeah, third position's good. I'm happy. And thanks to you boys for putting it on. ANZCAR, obviously. And yeah, everyone that comes down and races. Thank you.
You're always welcome. Thank you so much. The Scottish bagpipe man himself, the Welsh wonder, the Irish interrogator, Mr. Michael Skerlock. We will catch you again at some stage soon. Next up, we will jump to second place man, the big double D, Dave Douglas. Congratulations on P2, mate.
Hey, boys.
Hey.
Don't tell me you're surprised. Don't tell me you're surprised.
It's about time you were back up here in the booth, mate. It's been a while.
Yeah, we wonder what took so
mate.
long.
Oh, mate, just need to get to the bread and butter, mate. This is too easy for me, mate.
So, pretty decent race for you. I mean, you didn't make the most positions out of the race, and the guy in front of you did that.
I thought he did, eh?
Yeah, you can't claim that victory either. So you came second twice tonight. So beaten twice by Matty Ray. That's not a bad thing to have happen to you.
No, definitely not. If you're going to be beaten, at least it's a Matty Raymond.
Oh, that just gets you back for Daytona, mate. Beat me by nothing, literally.
Yeah, I beat you by nothing, mate. Yeah.
Super speedways, they seem to be something special happens at super speedways with Dave Douglas, and we saw it once again tonight.
Yeah, look, I just did the usual game, just hanging around at the back there, just like slow, no idea what's going on, just pumping around, avoiding all the wrecks and all the spastics and whatnot going on out there, and got in one of them. I thought, it's all over with 8 to go. I got in the one with Norman. I did a 360, kept going. I thought, I'll just drive it, whatever I got. And then turned out to be half all right, and it got in behind Matty there, and then my decision was made pretty early. Matty, I've used him as a sacrificial lamb once before at a restricted plate track, so I just used him up. And
Yeah, it was here, wasn't it?
it was Talladega, so mate, I owe you one. That's the debt paid, mate.
I forgot about that. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. Also, your boys did me a favour too, because when they both went high, I was looking to go around them, and they went high in the middle there, and I snuck down behind you, so that was good.
Look, Dave Douglas always pays his debts. It's the one thing we know about you, Dave. Look, congratulations on that P2 finish, mate. Thanks for giving us such an entertaining race. And obviously, we're going to see you in the Cup for Las Vegas and next time out at Talladega as well.
Yeah, mate, I'm filthy. I'm going to miss Talladega. But I'll be out at Vegas, mate, and hopefully rub a few feathers, mate, ruffle up a few boys, mate, get them screaming, get them squealing, you know. But world's best pusher, baby.
Oh, look, shame to not have you at Dega. We will miss you sorely, but congratulations on tonight, Mr. Dave Douglas. The usual thing of shout out and love to all the people out there.
Just a shout out to obviously FGM Mega. These boys are always mega, putting on a great show, splitting screens, showing replays, all the jazz, mate. They're the best in the business. Shout out to Skirley for doing as he was told there at the end. Because he was running around up the top there, and I said, mate, I need you to get behind me, and he did that. So that's I'm going to put it on Skirley there. But also a shout out to the bandits, as of course, in ANZCAR.
Absolutely, and now you can put on your resume Guide Dog as well.
Oh, yeah, I'll chuck it on there, mate. Definitely going on.
I think, Carl, based on your description there, mate, he's going to have to change his name to Dave the Lannister Douglas.
Mate, the golden hand, mate.
The golden hand.
The golden horn, mate, on the front. That's what it is. There you go. Done, boys.
Enough about Dave Douglas's golden horn. Thank you so much, Dave. Nice to have you back up there in the booth, and I'm sure we'll catch you again soon.
Too easy, boys. Congrats, Matty.
Good one, mate.
And next up, well, we've spoken to you once already tonight, Maddie, and we did say hopefully we'll get you back in the booth soon, and turns out we didn't have to wait too long.
Nah, how's that, eh? I must have like the opposite of the commentator's curse or something.
Yeah.
Always a chance, Matty. Always a chance.
Yeah,
This is-
talk to me every week. I like this.
You basically you did good to the commentators this week, so we didn't talk about you much. So you were absolutely fine in the race. As you said there, you know, a bit unlucky for your teammates who ended up running right towards the front of the end of that race there. Obviously, that was a huge help for you to get to the front when they sort of managed to give you that little bit of a run underneath them.
Yeah, it was sort of more of an audible. Like I got them to check their engines, and they had good engines, but as we were going green, I sort of thought, going around them might be a challenge. So I just asked them if they could move up a bit, and they managed to push Hamish and those boys up. And I think Wellman was up there, maybe I can't remember now.
Yeah, towards
Roman. Yeah, that worked out perfect. That's I owe the win to them boys really for that move. I couldn't have done it without that. So
it was a beautiful move and a really nice run up to the front as well. Obviously, those last couple of laps must have been a bit nail-biting, watching that high line trying to move up towards you towards the end, and those Mitch boys constantly a threat as well. That Mitch train looked like it had some speed in it at the end. Obviously, Hamish Gallagher blowing the engine as well, so that's some good news for championship positions for you as well.
I didn't know that.
He still managed to finish in P10 though, so
rolled it home right at the end.
Yeah, right.
But as I was saying, championship-wise, I mean, this is not a bad result for you. You came in lead in the championship with 9 points over Hamish, and you're going to leave with a win tonight. And your closest rival would be Josh Micklemore down in 8th.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's good. Also, I mean, what have we got? 5 rounds left, something like that. So there's still plenty of time for them boys to catch me, that's for sure. But no, it was really good tonight. I saw Westy coming up in that high line, and I saw the Mitch train behind him. Oh god,
he could have won it. He should have dropped down. He could have won it. He didn't.
Could have. Yeah. I was waiting for him to chop me off, but
that's because we had 2 on the bottom.
Yeah, I really thought, maybe the high line's quicker. Like I thought, I'm in trouble here.
It's only a matter. Gotta say, it's only a matter of time before Brenton West gets a win. He has been very quick and consistent in his P4, P5, and P6 positions pretty much all year round for him. As I said, closest championship contender is actually Brenton West, who finished in P6 for you. So it's close up there for the top for you guys. But it's been a good season so far for you, and obviously getting a win here is going to be. It's going to be a sweet one for you, but as you said, there is a long season to go. Obviously, you tend to be quite consistent and capable of keeping it clean, and as we may have mentioned in the race, that car barely looked to have a dent on it.
Yeah, I think there was one moment where Noddy might have just tapped me in the rear end on that first yellow or second yellow. But there was nearly every wreck I nearly got involved in. It was so close a few times, so... I think,
what is your secret of not getting involved in wrecks?
I don't know, practice at it, I guess. I don't know.
Avoid the spastics.
Yeah, they'll just lots of official racing, I guess. I don't know. No, I just, as soon as I see something happen, I lift, and then when I do break, I don't slam them on, so the bloke behind me has a chance at least to react. But yeah, it just works out most of the time, and awareness, I think, finds a
Mirror driving.
Yeah, knowing who's near you and who you're with makes a big difference.
Very much so. And again, another race from the back to the front for you. It seems if you try and qualify, things tend to go wrong for you. Yeah, that's it. So obviously, not qualifying is key for you.
Yeah,
35 positions game. Yeah, it's not a bad one.
So where did I start? 36, did I?
Yeah, you started behind Dave Douglas. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Dave Douglas almost got the most positions.
You're by one.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad now.
No, look, congratulations again, Matty Ray. Look, thank you so much for jumping up in the booth as well earlier on. And of course, big thank you, congrats to the team as well, and congratulations to yourself, and the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors and everybody in general.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. You guys, of course, FGM Ecast for putting on the broadcast. Like Dave said, you guys put on an awesome show, especially since the upgrade. It's wicked now. And yeah, ANZCAR, all the admin there. The usual sponsor list. We got all the boys at SRM. Some of them lucky buggers are at Laguna Seca at the moment, so shout out to them boys. Yeah, lucky buggers.
Yeah, they managed that.
Oh, a few of them live over there.
Oh, right. Oh, well, that helps.
And yeah, the usual sponsor list. Scotty down at McLean Mechanical. We got Johnny Larber at Mobile Breaker Mechanical Repairs. Mate of Auckland, KL Crash, mate Zachy at Zactastic Modding for cutting up my logos and trimming all that stuff up, and yeah, I reckon that's about it. Oh, Eric down at Silver Star Service and Restos as well.
You always need to have that list printed out ready on the wall just in case, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to stick it to my monitor or something.
Yeah, just remember, don't stick it to the monitor that you're actually using to race, because that can be a little bit awkward. Look, congratulations again. Well done, and look, we'll hopefully get you back in the booth soon, mate.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Stuart, that was one heck of a finish.
Oh, 6 minutes, or 6 laps. It's not even 6 minutes. 6 laps at the end there, just non-stop. The Mitch boys just trying to play out their strategy as well, which was great to watch. Plenty of respect given, lots of racing room in a really tight scenario. I know that sounds contradictory, but when people watch back the replay, they'll see it. And yeah, fantastic, absolutely fantastic there from everybody involved. Another ripping finish, mate. We're just having them roll one after the other at the moment with across all of the ANZCAR series. Just these really close finishes, fantastic qualifying. It's a really, really good thing to see. And albeit we had a few cautions, of course, but you're going to get that on the super speedways. There's no question about it. But still some really, really good racing at the end there, and 16 cars finishing on the lead lap. Really good turnout tonight as well. We had 37 on track to start the race, so can't really ask for much more, but you actually can, because tomorrow night we are back, and we're back with the chase. It's going to be a different kind of a race tomorrow. We're heading to Vegas, so we were at Bristol last week. We're heading to Vegas this week, so just making our way out towards Talladega and then Charlotte Roval in a couple of weeks, and I'm looking forward to that tomorrow night. We've got the pre-show on. We've got Andrew Dyson with an interview there about himself and everything that goes on in the world of the bearded man. That will be on between qualifying and the race start. So join us tomorrow night, 7:45 on FGM Ecast for that one. As always, Carl with you. Thanks very much for joining me on the stream for what was another classic ANZCAR race. Jump onto YouTube and give us a like, a subscribe, turn the notifications on, do all those sorts of things that you need to do. We're putting a lot more content on there these days, so there will be a highlights package go up of this race in the next couple of days or so, along with some other bits and pieces, so jump on there. Thank you to everyone who jumped into the chat and had a chat with us tonight. Always welcome. Makes our night a little more fun as well, if that's possible, given the finish we've just seen. But nonetheless, thank you all. And from FGM Ecast, your E-Place for Pace, it is another good evening. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7:45.